Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Wrath of the Righteous with me, Bring It On. Let's retake Drezen again. The Robe of Fire. Whenever the wearer casts a spell with fire descriptor, the saving throw DC is increased by 2.
We do it my way.
Might be trap, might be treasure.
Follow if you dare.
Holy Iomedae, do not forsake Drezen in our hour of strife.
This is my kind of work.
This will be quick.
I will resist.
The body of a fallen crusader who heroically sacrificed his life for Golarion.
I'm off.
Hilor the Pathfinder salutes you. Commander, you've risen from the dead after all. Not a minute too soon. I suppose that means I owe Nevia money now. Never been so happy to lose a bet in my entire life. I'll teach you not to bet against the chief. Plenty have made the same mistake. And where are they now, I ask you? You bet that I wouldn't come back. Why? Hilor looks at you guiltily and shrugs. Truth be told, Commander, I'm a practical man, and I never count on miracles. That doesn't mean I'm not happy to see you. On the contrary. I suppose a miracle you don't expect brings you the most joy, especially if it saves you from certain death. Where did the prisoners go? The Queen ordered that some be executed, and that the ones who weren't rotten to the core be given a second chance. Now they serve the Queen and the condemned, atoning for their mistakes, so to speak. Nevia said they got sent back to Nerosian, or at least one escaped on the way back to Nerosian, which we assume is Nura. I don't know why they didn't just execute him in Drezen. Because going back to Nerosian, they still have to go through the world wound between Drezen and Canabris. Time to move. Right you are, Commander. It's time for drastic measures.
There's something here.
Something over there.
I do what I must. We do it my way.
Can we retreat already?
Don't hold back!
Can't you just die already?
You should have run! Follow if you dare.
Pretty good, aren't I?
Right, to the Half-Measure Tavern. The one-eyed tiefling wipes the sweat off his forehead. Don't be scared, lads. We'll get through this. Walls are sturdy here. Reinforcements will come. You'll see. He notices you and freezes, opening and closing his mouth silently like a fish. It's been a while. The tiefling slaps his knee in delight. Commander, the wait is over. I'm not dreaming. I can't believe it. Vi gives you a friendly wave. Commander, so good to see you. We had a grand old time at your funeral feast. We'll have an even better time at your homecoming party. Later, of course. After we fight off this scum. It's a shame the half-measure has suffered so much damage. The tiefling looks around. You call this damage? It's only a little messy. We'll fight off the demons first, and we'll renovate this place so it's even better than it was before. I'm already planning to order a new counter, and I guess I'll renovate the ceiling as well, since I'm doing all the rest. Maybe I should change the floor too. Time to move. Yes, Commander. The tiefling claps his hands. Fall back, lads. We got nothing more to do here.
I'm off. I'm gone.
They will break against our resolve. Here.
Oh, we leveled up.
We do it my way.
That's level 20.
This is my kind of work.
Alright, Greater Quick and Meta Magic Rod. That'd probably be good on old Social here. Especially since I never use this. Or this. I'll probably give that to Darren instead. Oh, we actually have two Greater. Okay. No one else really needs it. Alright, let's go and level up for the last time. Well, at least with our main party, excluding Lan. Holy Champion, level 20. At 20th level, a paladin becomes a conduit for the power of her god. Her DR increases to 10, except evil. Whenever she channels positive energy, or uses lay on hands to heal a creature, she heals the maximum possible amount. Actually, I recently found out why, or supposedly why, this says her instead of his, because my main character is a male. Supposedly, it uses the, what's it called? So Sela is like the paragon of her class. So like, the creator of Pathfinder, they have certain characters that are kind of like the staple, or the example for each class, and Sela is the paladin one, so that's why this says her. It uses the... whatever they're called. But supposedly that's why that says her. Alright, another point of his strength, so that rounds it up to 30. Athletics, Perception, and Persuasion. And this is finally maxed out as well, right? Yes, as a swift action, the wearer of this cloak can teleport a short distance up to 25 feet once per round. That's awesome. Iomedae. It's another mercy. Not the most exciting, but another point of strength around that up to +7. Trickery, knowledge world, and perception. And I guess blinded? Obrig gets final aspect. At 20th level, a Griffin Heart shifter can use her major and minor forms at will, which we already can, so that's kind of boot. Alright, another point of strength for +8. Athletics, mobility, lore nature, and perception. Woljif gets Counterstrike. At 16th level, whenever an enemy within reach of the Magus successfully casts a spell defensively, that enemy provokes an attack of opportunity from the Magus after the spell is complete. And another point in intelligence for the +9 modifier. Trickery, stealth, knowledge arcana, perception, I guess mobility. Sirocco is just a good spell to have in general. I'll probably never use it on him, but it's nice to have. And actually, he probably already knows it. Let's grab transformation. Socio, level 20. Oh, that's right. I'll just put it into wisdom, it doesn't matter. Lore religion, perception, and lore nature. And Areelu, she gets favorite enemy, and espionage master. An espionage expert of 20th level becomes an espionage master. She can, as a standard action, make a single attack against a favorite enemy at her full attack bonus. If the attack hits, the target takes damage normally, must make a fortitude save, or die. The DC of the save is equal to 10 plus half the espionage expert's level, plus the espionage expert's charisma modifier. An espionage expert can use his ability 5 times per day, but not against the same creature more than once in a 24-hour period. Yeah, saying espionage expert that many times is fun. Alright, probably strength, I guess. Again, it doesn't matter. We can't make anything even. Mobility, trickery, stealth, knowledge arcana, perception, and knowledge world. This is the new favorite enemy, I believe, so... I don't think any of this actually matters. In Magical Beast, that's always a safe bet, especially in Kingmaker. Elder Demons of Magic. Sure. Then quickly, while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so I could use Enlarged Person on Woljif. He'll take a dexterity penalty, but he's using intelligence for his attacks. So his armor class will go down, but he'll have more reach stacked with lunge. So it'll be safer, and there's no downside. Been sitting on this for a little bit. Honestly, Sirocco is really good. If I can get a wand of selective metamagic on Woljif, be sitting pretty. The only downside is a lot of enemies are immune to fire damage. Another holy aura wouldn't be the worst.
Follow if you dare.
Alright, so I didn't do Hal's quest correctly. The Gold Dragon we met in Act 3. I normally he'd appear here and talk to you. And give you the option to become a Gold Dragon.
Test of my abilities.
My blade!
Killing is what I was made for.
I'm off.
Alright, I don't get his +1 Unholy Longsword. Because for whatever reason, that's all that the Baylors carry.
I do what I must. I'm gone.
This is my kind of work.
The Storyteller turns to you calmly. Long months have passed, Commander. But even while you were away on the other plane, I could hear your brave heart beating. That sound never stopped for a second. Airbeth looks at you as if unable to believe what has happened. Commander, you... For a while, she stands speechless. Finian laughs. You're a lively one, Grandpa Elf. Always finding yourself in the most dangerous spots. But I'm still glad to see you, although you'd be safer tucked up by a fire somewhere. How have things been these past 6 months? The Queen showed us nothing but respect and fair treatment. After she decided to proceed with the Crusade, many of us chose to stay with the unit in order to protect the Wardstone until your return. It was an easier decision for me than for others. I had encountered you in the Abyss, and I knew you were alive. But not everyone believed me. And then yesterday, I had a vision. I was leafing through the pages that you had collected for me, and suddenly I saw the future. Not the future clamoring to be told by the page in my hand, but your future. The future of the person who first brought that page to me. In my vision, you returned from the Abyss marked by new powers that wound around you like snakes. Your voice made the earth tremble. People and demons dropped to their knees, and Iomedae herself extended you a helping hand. But the only thing you were concerned with was the whereabouts of the banner that Queen Galfrey had taken with her. The Storyteller shakes his head. I know what I saw is difficult to believe, but I am in the habit of trusting my visions. So I hurried to the Citadel to lay my hands on some of Queen Galfrey's possessions, and try to discern where she went, and where your banner is now. My story is simpler. And Evie and I both agreed that we should stay here to wait for you. We're supposed to serve the Queen, but our hearts are here. Besides, you're still the commander of the Crusade, and I have no right to abandon you, even if there's almost no hope left. Although I must admit that the Storyteller's tale about his vision of your imminent return seemed quite vague. I followed him here to make sure he didn't accidentally hurt himself. Airbeth smiles happily. I'm glad that he proved to be right, and you really have returned. Do you know where the Queen went? It wasn't easy. I see the Queen's future and her past as if looking through shattered glass. Multiple visions come one after another, distorting the picture. The Queen is in mortal danger, at the crossroads of her fate. and her every step may prove fatal. But I did not give up, and fortune smiled upon me. I touched her goblet and learned where she was leading her army. Her Majesty decided to march for eyes. A bold move, one worthy of a queen who is not accustomed to hiding. We must hurry and help the queen. Let's take Drezen back, Commander, and then we march onward. Eyes. The place sounds familiar. Can you remind me of the details? Oh, Eyes. The city that hangs over the abyss. It once was the citadel of legendary rulers, the capital of Sarkoris. But now demons are tearing it apart, making a mockery of its former glory. 2/3 of its magnificent streets and proud towers have collapsed into the world wound. But the city still holds on, just as Sarkoris holds on, defeated, but refusing to die. The Queen did the right thing. We've mustered enough strength to try and go on the offensive, for the first time since the First Crusade. If we don't recapture Eyes now, who knows how many years we'll have to wait for another opportunity to approach it. To arms. It's time for the final battle for Drezen. Again. The Storyteller nods. Yes, your arrival has changed everything. Attacked by 2 armies, we felt like a dilapidated palisade on the verge of being swept away by a giant wave. But with your return, we've become an indestructible wall that will withstand any blow. I was afraid we would not be able to succeed without the banner. We may not have the banner, but we're still here. We live to see you return. You truly are our banner, Commander. To arms. There's one more thing. The Storyteller pauses for a while. In the shattered fragments that form her fate, I can sense your presence, and I'm convinced that the Queen could sense it too. No one can say what your next encounter will lead to, but there is one thing I know for certain. Queen Galfrey's fate and yours are tightly intertwined. Perhaps that is what made the Queen write this letter to you. After I touched her goblet, I saw her hiding it in a secret compartment in the wall, and I managed to find it. I do not know what it says, but I can sense the emotions that were tearing the Queen apart while she wrote it. The Storyteller ponders for a moment. I think I'll be able to tell you about the feelings she was experiencing in that moment. If you wish, you can come to me later, when everything is settled down, and bring this letter with you. We'll look into the past of this item together. Oh no, there are too many of them. This is useless. We're done for. Don't fall back. Hold the line. A huge Oli Nalfeshni is waiting for you with his arms folded. Here comes the Commander, kids. Ha ha ha. So, Commander, you like what you see? You've arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you, and look what's happened to them. You actually think you can rescue them? Ha. Who do you think you are? You should have angered our Master Mortal. He'll take away everything you have, your mind and your flesh included. You belong to him now. Who sent this army here, you beast? We also have our Master Baphomet, Lord of the Labyrinth. He promised us Drezen, and your skin is a doormat. The Marilith adds with a smug grin. You only get Drezen or Rengofta. The skin is mine and mine only. You look splendid in my chambers in the ineluctable prison. I'll do what that idiot Monago failed to accomplish. I'll destroy the Wardstone as you watch, little commander. And I'll admire the despair frozen on your face forever. I'll rescue my friends. And Nalfeshni burst into laughter. I'll rescue my friends. And how exactly will you do that, you pathetic Galarian maggot? What can you do on your own without your army? Yell inspirational speeches? Oh no, I'm so scared. And then all the pathetic defenders of Drezen will be inspired and turned into an invincible force. Ha ha ha. Yes, that's usually how it goes. In fairy tales. You know what happens next in real life. Your friends will rot in my lord's dungeon, and their bones will join the myriad others. We'll wipe your army out, and you along with it. But I won't kill everyone. I'll lock you in a cage, to start torturing your friends. Once I'm done with them, they will come and spit in your face. They'll tell you themselves what torment you doom them to. With a pointed yawn, the Merilith remarks casually, "It's time to end this mortal. He has nothing to surprise us with." Are you just a jumped up mortal insect? You are nobody. So, throughout this retaking of Drezen, you have the option to select a few different Act 5 specific mythic paths. Legend is one of them, and I have done that path before. I think it's my personal favorite. Then the Gold Dragon with Howl, which we burned that bridge early on. And I'm guessing the other ones, like Devil and Swarm That Walks, are also, permanently unlocked at this stage. But reveal the light of heaven. Let the darkness perish. Be gone from my world, demons. Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest bursts open in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the Abyss and Areelu Vorlesh erupts into this world, and you pay for it in purest agony. Light suffuses you, furious and burning. Light, and the desire to scorch your enemies at any cost. An incredible silence suddenly descends over the city. It is broken by the solemn sound of fanfares that seem to come from far away, everywhere, and nowhere all at once. All eyes are turned to the huge stained glass window of the city's main cathedral. It begins to glow with a soft light, and in the next breath, a lone figure steps out of the glass onto the cobblestones of Drezen.
Knight Commander, at last we meet.
There's no mistaking her. Iomedae, the goddess who has deigned to descend to the world of mortals. The companions show their faces, unable to withstand her radiance. The surviving demons quiver, the townsfolk fall to their knees, but the deities' eyes are on you and you alone. I bend the knee. My goddess, praise be to your name.
Rise. I have not come here to receive homage.
Still tower over her.
I suppose you're asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. And this is proof. This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands.
For a moment, the goddess diverts her eyes from your face and looks out over Drezen, surveying the chaos caused by the recent battle and a manifestation of your power.
I know how much light and hope you have brought to the Crusaders. Your achievements are indisputable. But during all that time, your followers believed that their leader was Heaven's chosen. This is a bitter lie, and goodness and justice cannot be based on lies. The light that emanates from you is deceiving, and dangerously bright. It burns your companions, and one day it will burn you too. But I did not come here to reproach you, or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Drezen. I wish to stop the forces of evil, and defend Golarion, both from Dascari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy.
Maybe I did acquire my powers from a dubious source, but I follow my own path.
You may think so, but alas, this is not true. It can be, however, if you accept my help. In that moment, when my poor herald was being torn apart by monsters, He found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Elutionera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
The walls of Drezen shake again. With a ringing laugh, a black shadow appears before the shining goddess, Nocticula in the flesh. Standing beside her is Areelu Vorlesh, who stares at the goddess with ice-cold rage in her eyes.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Golarion. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
The Succubus makes Iomedae's title sound like an elegant insult.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
Nocticula smirks. Goddess, can you banish the spawn of the Abyss, or destroy them entirely?
I cannot do that, alas. I will not subject Golarion to the war between deities, which will surely ensue if I personally intervene in mortal affairs. But if the demoness wishes to be present for our conversation, so much the better. Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the world wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomedae? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Areelu smiles coldly.
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
Nocticula's cold gaze makes Areelu press her lips into a thin line.
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the world wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the world wound will die along with it.
Fury rings in the voice of the goddess.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Galarian and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
Rilla's voice sounds almost indifferent. She doesn't look at the furious goddess. Her eyes are glued to you. In other words, I'll die if I don't close the wound, and I'll die if I do close it.
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
You hear genuine sorrow in Iomedae's voice. Nocticula, were you trying to hide this from me?
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
The demon smiles and shrugs. What if I reject this power?
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the Abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all.
What if I'm willing to sacrifice my life, if it means closing the world wound?
Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely feelings. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in him than you expected. Shame on you.
Nocticula wags her slim finger at Iomedae.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show him that he has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Areelu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now, to stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Nocticula rolls her eyes warily. Goddess, can you help me cleanse my soul of the influence of the Abyss?
Areelu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
Well, now I'm finally starting to understand the rules of this game.
Yes. The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait.
Areelu's voice rings with surprising, somewhat feral delight.
Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
The flick of the witch's wrist, something changes in her, as if a veil has fallen, one so thin that it was almost invisible, which has clouded your vision nonetheless. Now you can see what was hidden before. A deep open wound above Areelu's heart. The wound pulsates as blood drips from it. I received my wound because of you, Areelu, implanted the essence... Sorry, because you, Areelu, implanted the essence of the abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound?
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has 2 keys.
A smile dawns on Areelu's face, approving and triumphant.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Areelu, my love, come over here.
Nocticula looks at Areelu with fresh eyes, predatory curiosity written on her face. Areelu does not look like someone who has been cornered. Without a trace of fear, she gives you a faint nod, then makes a barely discernible gesture with her hand, and disappears as if she were never even here.
Wait, I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Areelu opened the world wound, and Areelu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Nocticula smiles at you sweetly.
Yes, Areelu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Areelu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Both the goddess and the demon lord stare at you expectantly. Before I make my decision, I want to ask Iomedae some questions.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
You gained your own power from the Starstone. How is my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprisoned entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself, for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send your herald to follow me to the Abyss? Or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
The demon grins. Do you know what happened to your herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Drezen. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war.
Deep grief flashes across the goddess's stern face.
Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss.
Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Iomedae's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years. So even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
A demon lord stands before you. Why don't you destroy her right here and now?
I could. But then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
Why did Areelu do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was a key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the world wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss?
Areelu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
I have no more questions.
It is time to make your decision then.
Nocticula, I have some questions for you.
If you have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the world wound would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Areelu, of course.
Nocticula gives you a sweet smile. Now that we've decided to use Areelu to close the world wound, you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her.
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Areelu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Areelu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely.
Nocticula flashes a predatory grin at you.
You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Areelu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Areelu deliberately led us the idea that she was the key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Nocticula shrugs. Where could Areelu have fled to?
No, let's think. She's hidden in the abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Areelu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that.
Nocticula taps a manicured claw on her chin.
If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the world wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of the goddess?
Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Nocticula pointedly looks Iomedae up and down.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
You really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Areelu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And, no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
I have no more questions.
Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
I want to ask my companions for advice. What do you think about all this?
Perhaps your power came from the abyss, but your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
So we won't get Land's opinion, because he's currently made of stone.
Your power doesn't lie in magic tricks. You know it doesn't. Your real power is inside you. You can win without tricks. I will help you.
As a member of the Order of the God Claw, I ought to advise you to obey the will of the goddess, or at least to take it into consideration. But as your companion, who has spent a lot of time with you, I can't help but notice you have reforged demonic Nihindrian power into angelic power. This is a sign of order triumphing over chaos. Perhaps there is room for maneuver here. That is why I advise you to weigh all the options and to make your own decision.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but the thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
Seela looks a little confused, but her voice is firm. Also, you're not very good at sensing evil, Seela.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
My brother is wise. Listen to his advice.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen. As to your original question, I'll be honest with you. Your power turns my stomach like sour prunes. Reject it, it can't hurt.
Ugh, these dames are tough. But Iomedae is as tough as you. If she tells you to do something, you better do what she says. I can feel it in my tail. You're good and righteous and all that, so do what the righteous goddess is telling you. Maybe it'll even make my life a smidge easier. After you, become more like a human.
Woljif casts a sideways glance at Nocticula and Iomedae, moves closer to you, so he can whisper.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Areelu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
Listen to the goddess, Warchief. And if you won't listen to her, then listen to me. You don't need these thrice cursed powers. You're the strongest of the strong, and the bravest of the brave, even without the gifts of a mad sorceress.
I've made my decision.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
Angel. So we get a Greater Sword of Heaven. We've already read. The Mythic Feet. Wings. You get a pair of wings that grant a +3 dodge bonus to armor class against melee attacks. And immunity to ground-based effects such as difficult terrain. And summon Astral Devas. So it just doubles the amount of Astral Devas we summon. And I guess flawless attacks. So you only suffer a -4 penalty on your iterative attacks instead of a -5 penalty. Oh, that sounds good. Alright, so we've read some of these before. So bestow the divine, the angel can now imbue the weapons of others with the same holy power. The angel can still imbue the weapons of only one creature. Demon Bane. The angel's weapons become the bane of all demons. a creature wielding them gains a +2 bonus on attack and damage rolls made against creatures with the demon subtype. And successful hits deal an additional 2d6 holy damage. This bonus stacks with the Bane special quality. A Guide the Faithful. Attacks with the imbued weapon now mark the target for 1 minute, making the target visible, giving the target a -40 penalty on stealth checks and a -4 penalty to armor class. Overwhelming Flames. Attacks made by the wielder of the imbued weapon now additionally deal weapon damage to all enemies within 5 feet. And Speed of Light. The wielder of the imbued weapon is now under an effect similar to Haste, but granting 2 additional attacks instead of 1, making all spells of 7th level or lower quickened, as though using the Quicken spell feat. Let's do Overwhelming Flames, give us some AoE. Then we get Firestorm, Euphoric Tranquility, Storm of Justice. The spell functions like Bolt of Justice, except it affects multiple creatures. Gale of Life. The spell functions as Breath of Life, but affects all allies in a 20-foot radius. Avenger's Blessing. The spell targets an ally in close range. The target gains the combined effect of the Divine Power, Holy Aura, and Heroism greater spells for 1 round per caster level. And Solar Chains. I think this is unique to the Angel as well. A creature targeted by this spell is held immobile by glowing golden chains composed of pure sunlight. For a number of rounds equal to your caster level, the creature is paralyzed, held in place, and takes 46 damage plus 1 damage per caster level every round. You may attempt a new saving throw each round to end the effect. If the initial saving throw is successful, the target is staggered for 1 round and takes the same amount of damage. The choice is made. All you have to do is announce it to everyone. You sacrifice your own humanity to serve the forces of good, Goddess. Do not judge me if I choose to do the same.
It pains me to hear that. But I am not your judge, and I shall not stand in your way. At least not until I see that Golarion is under threat. You have chosen your path. Farewell.
A strange expression appears briefly on the luminous face of the Goddess. Something like amazement mixed with understanding. She nods slowly.
Oh, I think my hands are shaking. We disobeyed the goddess, but it was for a righteous cause. How am I supposed to wrap my head around this?
It would have been so foolish for you to reject your powers. So many victories, so many achievements lie ahead for you. Well, go now. Capture Areelu, and prove which of you is making the best use of her invention. I'll be watching you.
Nocticula gives you a playful wink. The Demon Lord blows you a kiss and disappears. It's taking a long time to load. So this is a relatively new effect. Depending on which mythic path you lock into, Drezen will look different. So we see all this angelic light kind of shining down on us. And of course, angels and stuff walking around. I think that happened even before. Depending on your mythic path, you'd have different characters walking around.
Adventures can wait.
I do wish it wouldn't just throw you immediately into another conversation like this. That's a lot of talking already. There should be a chance to rest and then do this or something. That's one... It's a minor grievance, and it's mostly for someone like me who reads everything. Like, give me a break. Nevia bounds up to you, rubbing her tired eyes, but with a wide smile plastered on her face. I can't believe it. Victory. And what a victory. Light has returned to Drezen. The demons are running crying back to their demon mommies. Drezen's been lost again and again, but again and again we win it back. You win it back, Commander. For light, for truth, for life. What's the city like now? It's been cleared of demons, and it's shining bright as a temple with 1,000 candles. I don't think it looked this good even back when it was first founded. This isn't victory yet. I won't stop until the last demon gets the punishment it deserves. You betcha. Ha. The scum didn't know who they were messing with. What's the situation at the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised a sword of valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she's boldly taking eyes even now. Maybe her bones have already been picked clean by demons. We don't know, and I doubt anybody except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions keep taking swipes at us. Scumbags are holed up somewhere, the Ivory Labyrinth I'll bet. And they keep opening portals at different spots, dropping off a dozen units, and then closing the portal before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I'd care to admit before we figured out how they were pulling off that little trick. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could get to one of those portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow, so that when one opens, you get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding the poor herald in there. If he's alive, you can free him. How do you feel after seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. You dared to go against the goddess, and she forgave you. My mind can't comprehend it. Airbeth laughs awkwardly. I was worried about your impudence would be the death of us all, but now I think that you are strong enough to stand against the abyss, even without heaven's help. As you just heard, I have to catch Areelu. Any idea where I should look for her? Not especially. She's been roaming the abyss all this time, but now that avenue's closed to her. Nocticula and the other demon lords are all slavering for a piece of her. I think she's someplace around here, in the wound. Some nasty little place like Eyes. Or maybe she went as far as Threshold. An entire army of demons enhanced by Nahindran crystals was being sent here. It's being led by a demon named Mutasophan. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of a large demon army far to the southwest of Drezen. They're marching across a dried-out lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I heard. But where they went, nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thank you for the report. I'll be setting off without delay. Go on and fly. Chase the demons away from us. Now I know for sure the Fifth Crusade will be the last. It's all over for the fiends. They finally met an enemy they could never have seen coming. Just do one thing for me. Come back to Drezen if you can. Folks are drawn to your light. Those who left are coming back, and new people are arriving. They need someone to tell them what to do. They need someone to show them. They need someone to lead them forward. Come on. Let me rest. Rachel looks slightly more tense than usual. Donald, I have fairly important news. I'll do my best to be brief. The Hell Knight orders have not reacted well to the developments I mentioned in my latest report, specifically regarding the true source of your power. The very notion that we have been cooperating with the weapons forged by Areelu Vorlesh and Nocticula has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know, in fact. I suggest you go there and resolve the issue between the orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. What kind of reactions should I expect from the Hell Knights? Any, up to and including a formal declaration of war, which is why you must go to the outpost and resolve the issue before it devolves into open conflict. How could you even think that reporting this to the orders would be a good idea? You really think I could withhold this information from my superiors? Do not degrade me or yourself with such a ridiculous suggestion. Very well. I'll go there as soon as possible. Excellent. That is all I had to report. So I return to my duties. You may attend to your other affairs. Donald. Succubus gazes at you despondently. She always speaks quietly, but now her voice is a barely audible whisper. In my dream, a fire destroyed almost everything. The only thing that survived was a table. I've returned to my dream world so many times. The nightmare still lurks there, but I want to understand why this table is so important. Why did it survive the fire? I can't figure out what makes it special. It looks like a simple piece of furniture. It just stands there. What is it supposed to mean? What am I doing wrong? Is your nightmare still attacking you? Not openly. It still lurks in the shadows, gnawing at my soul from within. It never leaves me alone, but it hasn't tried to fight me again. Would you like to enter your dream again? I don't think that will help. We've already been there and... no. There must be something else. I must look at it from a different side. How do you find the other side of a dream? The other side of a dream is called reality. Perhaps this table represents something that you were supposed to do in real life. You might be right. Peripheral eye brightens considerably. What exactly should I do? Find a table? Buy one? Perhaps I should learn the craft of a carpenter and make one myself. So many possibilities, and I don't even know where to begin. Her excitement gives way to dismay. Perhaps Desna can help you solve this riddle. But she was the one who asked me to solve it. I don't think she's going to tell me the answer. I must find it myself. But how? Where did this table come from? Where did it come from? Rishlai considers your question. She taps her lips thoughtfully. Oh, I remember now. There's a loaf of bread on that table. That was Anevia's dream. Remember? She said she wanted to learn how to bake. The bread went up in flames along with all the other fragments of her dreams. But the table remained. If this table came from Anevia's dream, perhaps you should talk to her. I've been living among mortals for a while now, but there's still so much I don't understand about your kind. How you live, what you dream about. You're right, we should ask Anevia. It is part of her dream after all. That's a good idea, but... Succubus shifts from foot to foot reluctantly. Could you please talk to her instead? I don't even know how to begin a conversation like this. It is so personal. Please ask her, and I'll stay nearby. Commander, the Inquisitor greets you with a bow. I'm sincerely gladdened by your return, and I was delighted to hear of your recent victories. It is a shame that my duty has kept me away from the front line. I'd like to take up a place in the ranks of your Crusaders, and perhaps I will still have a chance to do so. But before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you've already guessed what has brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery made at Count Arendae's estate. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity, which I call the Other. I retreated to Nerosian, then went beyond Mendev's borders, looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. And now that my search has borne fruit, I'm ready to tell you about it. Why did your search take so long? Because we are dealing with a rare phenomenon, a true anomaly. The Mendev Inquisition has amassed substantial experience in fighting demons, but here we are up against something completely different. I had to trawl through our archives searching for cases that seemed in any way similar. I sent inquiries to friendly temples and reached out beyond our nation's borders to experts on the unknown. It was dull and painstaking work, but it was necessary. So what have you learned about the Other? I must be honest, I still don't know what it is. However, I managed to find some evidence of similar incidents. Individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became a gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happen in various corners of Galarian, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varisian arcanist managed to pick up the trail of the Other and invented a ritual to weaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found. But her note survived, including the description of the ritual. I've discussed it with several highly esteemed experts in magic, and I'm inclined to consider this a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, bind it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual, then bring Count Arendae to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the Other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the other can travel freely between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the other with the ritual, we'll either escape, or in the worst case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out, and then, I suppose, defeat it. There is one more issue. Aside from the fact that we'll have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature, the other suspicion must not be aroused until the very last moment. This means that the Count must know nothing as well. The best course of action would be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for the journey. We must frighten him and make it appear that his life is in danger. The other will believe that its gateway is in peril, and then I hope will show up to protect it. The ritual will work as a trap, the ritual circle will work as a trap. But it is crucial, and I stress this, that we convince the entity that we know nothing of his existence, that it is Darren who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there's no knowing what may happen. I don't want to give the adversary any chance to outmaneuver us. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Darren? The Count has been in danger many times before, and nothing special has ever happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You shared part of your mythic powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you, and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. It also must understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor, but an enemy to its gateway. I am certain that it will react to a threat coming from you, as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. How dangerous is it? It is extremely dangerous, which is why I have come to you with this. All the evidence I have collected on the other, in particular, the list of its victims, which include powerful demons and strong mortal mages, made me certain that we are dealing with something extraordinary here. It is stronger and more dangerous than Baelor's and other generals of the Abyss. I also suspect that the oracle powers the Count has developed come from the other. As a rule, only gods, imperial lords, and other extremely powerful beings are capable of granting such abilities. I know no one except for you who could challenge such an entity, so I'm asking you to help, for the safety of all who dwell in Golarion. However, I believe that we can shore up our strategic position if the other doesn't suspect we're preparing a trap until the very last moment. Even the most dangerous of creatures become more vulnerable when caught off guard. The main thing we must do is to take a methodical approach and stay alert. I think that is within our abilities. I assure that this other is hostile toward us, and all this time, it has never tried to attack me. I am certain that this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence and my instincts as an Inquisitor are undeniable. Wherever the other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that it is responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses. The ones that were found at Heaven's Edge after the tragedy, and in Canabras after Discari's attack. In both places, some of the corpses belonged to civilians and others to demons. And in Canabras, some of the victims were cultists. I am convinced that the other is pursuing some interests of its own, and thus far it has ruthlessly exterminated any who learn of its existence. And now, you and I know that it exists. Draw your own conclusions. If Darren is the gateway, can we just slam this gateway shut and leave the other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count, the Inquisitor answers simply. But first, I'm not sure that the other won't try to protect its gateway, and in that case, we'd have to face it unprepared. And secondly, I'm opposed to the idea in principle. Sometimes Inquisitors must make hard decisions. I've made a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I could kill a person possessed by demons, if he or she is at imminent risk of taking many lives, and have no time to perform an exorcism. But in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other. I'll not agree to commit cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone as disgraceful as Count Iomedae. I'll help you. Thank you. Now let's go over the entire operation once more. I'm convinced that we must lure out the others somewhere far from Drezen and other populated places, to avoid civilian casualties. I've chosen a suitable location within the World Wound. I'll mark it on your map. You must bring the Count there without alerting him to what's about to happen. I assume that another foray into the World Wound would hardly raise his suspicions. I'll await you there, with the ritual circle prepared. But before we reach the crucial moment, you must make the Count and the other believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that would be to tell him that you made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition, and the Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him, but you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out to protect its gateway. That's when we finish it off once and for all. This case will be my greatest triumph or my greatest failure, but I firmly believe that it must be done. Remember my words. The other must be convinced that we are threatening the Count and that we know nothing of its own existence. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Until we meet again, Commander, and may the gods be with us. Still going. Man, yeah, they don't need to lump everything together like this. A pale ghostly image appears in front of you. You recognize Lathmus, the antiquarian, the scholar you helped some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently. You have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Themis. I won't be maintain spell for long. Open the door. Treasure room. Please hurry. What door? What are you talking about? The door. To the dragon burial ground. The bell. The caves. Remember? What? Did you manage to open the door? Yes. I won't enter without you. Waiting on your help. I'm on my way. I'll be waiting. Please. Her. The vision of Lathmus flickers and fades. Commander, you look up and see Melissa, the green-eyed fisherwoman from the village of Chili Creek. Her hair is a mess, and her face and clothes are covered in soot. It looks as though she traveled here in a hurry, and met with a few dangers along the way. Help. Please help me. He's gone crazy. You will kill him. Calm down, what happened? You remember Jernoff, the cleric who came to our village a year ago? The locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god. But little by little he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us, and he told people stories about the Crusade. He told us about meeting you, and seeing the Queen. And the songs he used to sing. They just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, the fishwoman looks down. We became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent. He threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but... Melissa shakes her head sadly. We even thought about leaving the village. When my brother found out, he lost his mind completely. Marco is strong, and no one else in the village dares to challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape, but my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happened to him. Help us, please. What caused this change in Marco's behavior? Melissa looks away and replies softly. Marco, he really honors the village traditions. We've been worshipping the river for many generations. He was not keen on having the cleric of a foreign god in the village, but he was willing to tolerate Jernoff's presence for a while. However, my relationship with Jernoff really disappointed Marco, especially when he discovered that I had begun to worship Areelu too. How did you get here? By some miracle, I guess. Everything is on fire out there, and all those monsters. But never mind me. I managed to survive. I made it here in one piece, but I am in serious trouble, and I have no one I can turn to for aid. Please help me. You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Alright, I'll help you. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into a rage, but please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. We're done. Okay, I'm gonna call it here. Next time we will... I don't know, we'll do something, that's for sure. But either way, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.